Saves transportation. Sign up nowhere.
Okay, well, we gotta get him approved first. Okay, all right. Mr. Logan?
I mean, there's nothing extra I can do. It's true. Because I can only get like one person at a time. This basic, yeah. Yeah. Truly.
Everything all right? I'm sorry about that. Fill in who you. Got 150 seats. I think she'll work. She's doing charity stuff up there.
6:30, I'll go ahead and call the zoning and economic development meeting to order. Starting off, roll call, Mrs. Schmidt.
Present.
Mrs. Fitzpatrick. Mr. Coolman.
Here.
Mr. Sanders. Introduction of guests, starting left side, if anybody wants to introduce themselves to the public.
Dr. Lincoln Evans.
Anybody else? No? All right. So in the packets right now, we only have minutes to approve for May 13th. We do not currently have any minutes for May 4th. So that is attached in your packet, and I would entertain a motion to approve minutes for May 13th, 2026. Motion made by Mr. Schmidt, seconded by Mr. Coolman. Any questions, discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. All right, for old business, I don't have anything for old business. We'll move on to new business. Item number 1 is the data center ordinance. So in your package, you do have a copy of the draft ordinance. And then also you have the 6 ZDA recommendations that were provided by Mr. Scott and his other team. So for the ordinance itself, this is the same draft with exceptions of legal changes based on verbiage between Mr. Hamilton, our attorney, the challenges from HUD-8's attorney based on legal verbiage and some language which has been redlined, reviewed, and sent to Brad, so there's no concerns there. We did have Mr. Hamilton give us a list of justification based on the legal basis for those changes. And so those all been implemented into this draft. The only thing that hasn't been implemented are the ZBAs, so the next our process would be to discuss those, but I will first stop, see if there's any questions or discussion concerns on the current draft ordinance. There is one thing I would like to entertain a motion to add to the ordinance. This would be prior to a CPU or a conditional use permit to be issued, an independent study would be performed third party by the board. This would focus on light, water usage, noise, or any other things that we need to have a study on before a permit would be issued. I thought it was in this ordinance, but it is not. So that is one amendment I'd like to make and entertain a motion for. Motion made by Mr. Schmidt.
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Coolman. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And we'll,
Hey, Deb.
yeah.
Some of the other counties that have passed, they have basically put in there that the applicant pays for that, reimburses the county for it. We picked the consulting firm or whatever, but then they
Cover the
reimburse
cost.
the county for it. I don't know if you need to put that in there as part of that or not.
Yeah, so we can make amendment to entertain a motion to ensure that the third party study, impact study, would be cost covered by the developer itself, but the selection of the company or doing the study would come from the board selection, not the developer. Motion by Mr. Schmidt, second by Mr. Coleman. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
So I will email Mr. Hamilton, make sure this gets added to the draft ordinance before it goes in front of the board. And that would be specifically, as we stated, would be an independent study to be performed, focused on lighting, water, noise level, other environmental concerns, that the board would select that vendor, but the cost would be covered by the developer. Okay, any other items for the draft ordinance itself? Okay, moving on to ZBA recommendations. So there are 6 ZBA recommendations starting on your second page. Starting off with the first one, it was recommended by the ZBA to be amended to include that the Logan County Health Department also be notified as the test results for the annual reported note. This is such as for wastewater from the data center. I have no concerns adding this to the ordinance itself, and I'll open up to the other board members. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to accept the first recommendation, number 1, by the ZBA.
I make the motion.
Motion made by Mr. Schmidt, seconded by
Second.
Coolman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Alright, first recommendation has been accepted. Recommendation number 2, discuss and address the noise restrictions of the ordinance that would apply to the data center facility. This is addressed in section 4. The term county noise standards could mean the IPA noise standards as used for wind farms, but this needs clarification. So in this one, I know it talks about in our draft ordinance following the Illinois EPA. But I know there was further discussion on what that requirement would be. We could also make it more restricted as part of conditional use permits. I don't know what page is that on, I just want to make sure. So for the second recommendation, for the clarification, I would suggest it state in accordance with the Illinois EPA noise standards as used for wind farms. But then again, additional restrictions could be placed on the conditional use permit, depending on if another data center was to come and apply, so that's just verbiage change. But I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to validate the verbiage for noise standards would follow the Illinois EPA noise standards as used for wind farms.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Coolman, seconded by Mr. Schmidt. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Number 3, setbacks was discussed. So currently, right now, the ordinance states 500 feet setback from non-participating party or property was felt to be too small. The recommendations of 1,500 setback for data center building, structure, or equipment was recommended by the ZBA from both participating and non-participating property lines. So right now, my recommendation would be to not accept this recommendation, leave it at 500 feet, and this is the reason why. Because I think it could be set by the conditional use permit based on a different developer where the location is. If it's in the middle of nowhere, not even close to house or town, it could be challenged on if the 1,500 setback. Right now, wind farms and battery storages in our ordinance are on only 150. So I think that could just be subjected based on a conditional use permit. But at least right now, with the ordinance states 500 setback, but we could put a note in there stating that based on the location, the development, surrounding areas, that setback could be changed based on a conditional use permit. Mr. Coleman, you got anything, different thought?
Would you be amenable to increasing it at all?
What's that?
Would you be amenable to increasing it at all?
Well, that was, and we're kind of talking about the water usage, depending if another data center was to apply, where it would be located, how large it would be. Right now we have the 4 smaller ones that are supposed to be developed north of 66, smaller scale data centers, but they're only less than 100 foot from the road line and property. So that's why, talking to others, that the recommendation would be, this would potentially be set by the conditional use permit based on the application where the location was, and the board could challenge back for further setback or at 500 feet. So we can either take out the 500 feet and just be, that would be determined based on the application and the location of the development,
Okay.
if that works. That way it's still set by the board, it can still be challenged, still be reviewed by everybody, and that would be based on wherever the location would be. So
I'll make that motion for.
motion made by Mr. Coolman, second by Mr. Smith. So for recommendation number 3, the 1,500 setback, this would be changing the ordinance to be based on the conditional use permit and final decision by the board based on the application and location of where the area would be built. All right, recommendation number 4, section 3H was discussed and it was recommended that the owner should be defined as a person or entity, not simply a person. And I'm okay with that recommendation. If there's any other discussion, I would entertain a motion to accept recommendation number 4.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Coolman, seconded by Mr. Smith. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Recommendation number 4 accepted. Recommendation number 5 was discussed by the ZBA that protection of tile drainage similar to the IEMA wildlife historic sites and similar to wind farm ordinance section 4B6 II 1012 to be considered for inclusion in the data center ordinance. It was also noted that IEMA may not currently apply to data centers. I would recommend accepting recommendation number 4. That's similar to what we do with wind and batteries and solar. That would be part of the conditional use permit, that a tile drainage ordinance and restrictions be in place and be completed prior to any final issue permit. So I'd entertain a motion for recommendation. Motion made by Mr. Schmidt.
Second.
Second by Mr. Coolman. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Moving on to the last one, number 6, ZBA reviewed the amendment to proposed appendix J, data center facilities of Logan County's zoning ordinance concerning decommissioning requirements. ZBA recommends approval of all page 6. So this one, we do have a separate ordinance being built that I gotta wait on Mr. Hamilton for a decommission plan for the data center. So that's why I would recommend not taking this recommendation as part of this ordinance, since we're developing a separate ordinance for the decommission plan. And that is it. So, if there's any other questions, discussion on the data center ordinance? The second thing to talk about, I would like to set up a special board meeting this Thursday, June 1st at 6, so we can get this in front of the board and get it approved. I don't know if you guys are available Thursday. Yeah.
I think so.
And then I can work with other board members. The one reason trying to get this through, since we do have those 4 data centers that are in progress now, we have no ordinance to hold them to any type of restrictions. When they were approved, they were underneath the solar farm permit, not necessarily a data center. So I drive by it every day. They are in the process. Looks like they build the units there and then build a building around it. So right now we have nothing to enforce anything on the data center portion.
They're industrial zone, so.
So that's one reason why I think we need to get something on the books now. Some of this will be retro back to the data center that are being built now, and then that way if there's any violations, we can also hold them accountable. So unless there's any of the challenges, I'll have this one signed by everybody and then get a 4th with the intent to set up this Thursday, 6 p.m. Is a second internal elevator working yet? Or is it still broke? I think it's still broke. So right now, I'll shoot for first floor courtroom, but if the elevator's working, we can set it up in the second floor. I don't see when it's. Okay.
DBA's that night too, so, but not till 7:30.
Okay. All right, next moving on to wind farm ordinance. So this is more to start the discussion. There's been a lot of complaints with certain wind farms within the county not meeting ordinance requirements. So I wanted to start the process where we can start reviewing those ordinance requirements that are not being met by each developer. The major thing is signage with contact numbers. I know that's required. It's been identified some of the wind farm areas don't have that signage with a name and contact for residents or anybody that wants to contact them for concerns. The second one is obviously there's issues with oil leakage on wind farms. I know some of them have now been addressed where they are working through cleaning the spring, but that goes to speak on other potential wind farms that would have the same issue with different developers. So I know I'll work with Al out of here. I want to get a process set up how we would start enforcing those requirements. I know we don't have a zoning enforcement officer, but, so,
We did pass, our amendments to the ordinance that gives us some, enforcement
okay.
enforcement that we can do now as far as fines and that go, which we didn't have before.
So I just wanna work with you outside of here, have you start reaching out to Pike Creek and other areas that may not have the proper signage with the contact numbers, so we know who to contact when we have issues.
Yeah, the oil leak one, they just sent me the report, I think it was Friday, their annual maintenance report, so I've got that. They're the only ones that have turned it in so far.
Is that the first one they turned in? Basically, no one's been turned in, so we gotta start.
Yeah, the only other one that ever turned one in was,
Top hat?
no,
Sugar Creek?
Hilltop,
Hilltop.
yeah. And they don't have much.
And you have all the contact names for all. I guess the first step, sending out a letter to make sure that our ordinance requires them to turn maintenance records and
Yeah,
obviously there's penalties.
that's been set.
Oh, it has, so we're
Okay.
to the next step. Could you email me and the zoning committee all the developers' main point of contacts and phone numbers? And then maybe we can have them show up to a board meeting. So we did that to one developer that was not addressing a noise issue. If we already sent letters to them. And then I know Pike Creek's one of them that don't have proper signage with contact names and numbers. I don't know if you've already reached out to them or if you can to remind them that we need to install signs within areas. And if you need to follow back up, that's fine.
Pike Creek hasn't started construction yet.
Or is it Sugar Creek? There's something like, okay.
Sugar Creek.
Let me go through my email. is it Sugar Creek?
Yeah, Pike
Okay.
Creek's the one that's trying to meet their conditions.
Okay, so Sugar Creek is one I know for sure doesn't have a bright signage.
Okay. And they're the ones that I did get the maintenance report on, so.
Okay, yeah, if you can send us the name and numbers, I'll reach out to them, I'll put the board on there, the request for them to come to the zoning committee so we can start discussing the violations of our current ordinance in place and what that will look like going forward.
Yeah, the one thing to keep in mind is that these earlier ones, Top Hat's the only one we've actually gotten enforcement fines and stuff on. The rest of them were all prior to us changing that ordinance for enforcement, so we can still pull the nuclear or threaten the nuclear option if need be for that, so.
Yeah, I need to get with Brett, cause it seems like a lot of people don't know that they get a lot of violations from townships for violating the road use agreement.
Yeah, and Brett did, Top Hat was the one that initiated this whole thing. He did get them.
Okay.
We didn't have the authority, but he did, so.
So maybe I'll ask Brett for his report on the violations in the townships. Okay. So I'll just keep that as old business, just to follow up. The idea is by the end of June to start enforcing, get the communications out to each developer and make sure that they're meeting the ordinance requirements. And if not, then we move on to the next phase and get with Brad for penalties. Okay, anything else on the wind farm or solar ordinance? All right, moving on, number 3, part-time zoning office board. So I know right now, I looked in the budget, it was already budgeted this year for 12,000. Do you wanna share with the committee what your intent was for this position?
Yeah, basically, I budgeted for a part-time employee to file, get the computer systems up to date, storage, and that sort of a thing, and, haven't really needed or had the time to deal with it up to this point, but, Brett's youngest, son graduated from high school this year. He's worked for the county before, worked for the rank, and he expressed interest in doing that. And I informed him that it wasn't gonna be a glamorous job by any stretch. It was gonna be just a filing and that kind of thing, and he is interested in it. I interviewed him last week, and if we can get approval on that, maybe 1, maybe 2 days, not full days, but part-time during the week for the summer, just to try to get the filing and stuff all caught up, cause everything was kinda left when Tracy left it, when she left, so.
So what would be the time frame? June to when, August?
Yeah, yeah. Whenever the U of I starts.
So right now, you're looking for part-time zoning office support, this would run from June to August, no more than $12,000 within that 3 months. That's what currently is budgeted. Are you accepting any other applications, or is it?
I sent out where I talked to the Heartland College about anybody that they had that wanted to intern and be on that, but nobody's expressed any interest in it, so.
Okay,
Oh,
go ahead.
when did you, send it out to them? How long ago?
Probably a month and a half ago.
Okay.
I told them about it last fall,
Yeah, I remember.
and then followed through with it about a month and a half ago and said, hey, I think we're gonna do something with it.
Okay.
Mr. Coleman? All right, so I'd entertain a motion to approve the part-time zoning office support, start date from June 1st until August 15th, with a max cap of $12,000. Second by Mr. Schmidt. Or motion by Mr. Schmidt, second by Mr. Coleman. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. All right, moving on to zoning office report.
Okay, permits issued the last 30 days, 2 tower renovations, communication tower renovations, 2 new homes, 2 commercial buildings, sheds, 1 residential shed, and 12 rooftop solars. A situation with Pipe Creek. They're continually, and this was even twice today, repeatedly requesting partial permits, where they want to come in and get a permit to put in the footings for their O&M building without any of the other conditions for the site having been met fully. I've repeatedly told them, no, this was approved as a complete project, not as an individual projects. So they come up with other reasons to, they've got Brett involved in saying, well, he says we can do highway work and stuff on a partial basis. And, I said, well, that's a totally different issue. And Brett says you can spend all the money you want improving his roads that you want, but you don't get any entrance permits until I've got building permits. I think they're getting desperate to show some form of construction being done before their financing and their permits run out. But I think today, and I basically went back to Brad and I said, I know we've talked about this before, but here's what they're coming up with. Now it's the stormwater plans. Well, if we just do the plan for the building, can we do can that count, and not do it for the rest, and deal with it that way? Brad confirms, no, it's all or nothing. So, that's the situation that's going on. So and I've said it before, if you hear that Brett or I are delaying this, we are not. They are not fulfilling their obligations on this. So, and we're trying to help them through, but that's the situation. So, there won't be any partial permits issued. And, on the data centers, the state did not pass any legislation. Most likely won't happen this year. So they did not pass any legislation on that. They did, however, add an addendum to the other alternative energy as far as if somebody's filing a complaint that we've either disproved or they think we're delaying their application for special use, they can go to the commission that they've set up, the Energy Commission, and if they see that we have intentionally delayed or for reasons unbeknownst to them or denied that process, they can give them a state approval in lieu of the county.
So what would that then apply to? Just solar?
Solar, wind, and battery storage. And that just started today, I just gotta have it read fully through, but that's basically a summary, sorry, what it says. There is upcoming, an application coming for a new community solar facility, 3 megawatt, right across the tree line from, the one that's going up in Eaton, by the Eaton plant.
What did you say?
There's another community solar application coming in right next door to the data center one there by the Eaton plant. But it's zoned residential. So they're gonna have to get it rezoned first before they can come in and try to get a special use out of it.
Is that gonna be north of the current one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they've got a ways to go. That was just, I had a telephone conference with them today regarding what the process was and what they were gonna have to come up with and what they're gonna do. So, but that's upcoming. There was a phone call last week from a large construction maintenance firm that works for a lot of these people as far as putting some of these projects together, inquiring about the 180 megawatt solar project near Lakeland. I think they jumped by a couple of weeks. They were all waiting until after June 1st when the new regs hit. So that may be something that's
Was that the
coming
one that
down the
was
pipe.
rumored about being out by Chestnut?
No, it's a different one.
Yeah.
They said Lakeland. So, and 180, that's a big one. So, I said, well, we don't have anything in-house and haven't heard anything about it. Oh, okay.
Cause the one by Eaton's what, like 2 megawatts roughly, if that,
3, yeah,
so if that's just 3,
that's a community.
and that's a small one, so imagine what 180
Yeah.
megawatt would look like. Okay.
And as far as our data center ordinance, I've gotten phone calls from Lake County and today Henry County requesting copies of our data ordinance because they would like to copy it.
Okay.
So, I guess if Lake County wants it, then we're in big time. And that's all I've got.
All right, any questions for Al? Approval of bills. Let's see. Where- I'll jump to, while you guys are looking at the bills and signing those, I'll move to public comments. Is there anybody that would like to speak? Yes, sir.
Alright, I just want to say, I don't think HUD's necessarily completely done, and you guys should watch out for like their lobbyists getting involved with getting the next board member lined up. And also with the wind farm, I would try to get those road use permits to, affect the workers too, especially during those maintenance. I don't know if they have to call in for like the specific towers that they're going to be bringing cranes to, but it seems like that's when the most rules get broken.
Okay, no, that's a good challenge. I'll make sure Brett, because I know the one they're getting ready to clean, I'm assuming they'd have to bring a pretty massive crane to get up there to clean that,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to Brett, or I'll shoot him an email and see if we evaluate that before they bring that equipment in. Anything else for public comments? Anybody else?
One of the issues too, Dale, that Brett brought up on the Pipe Creek deal is they're looking to put in new culverts in some of these places because the old won't support the weight that they're bringing in. He's informed them that if you've got to do work on those and widen those culverts, you're gonna have to get signs, you're gonna have to get the adjoining property owners to sign off on it. And because that's not gonna fall under the jurisdiction where he can take the property, they haven't even started it.
Understood. Anybody else for public comments?
No.
Is this all? Yeah. Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the bills. Motion made by Mr. Schmidt, seconded by Mr. Coolman. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Coolman, seconded by Mr. Schmidt. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. No.
Yeah, the truck guy that's always that old lady told us that, and I was like, I don't know, I've never heard of it. Yeah, he is a big guy, but.
We're gonna wait till tomorrow to see if anybody responds tonight. But if they don't,
Well, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's stupid.
I always see you walk around and go, welcome.
Kevin, do you want to sign this before we leave that meeting? Gil was going to,
I just kind of guys recognize you now that you say it. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have like a bar.
Yeah, let's get together. Your dogs are always saying hi to us too, the hard part to get your daughters especially.
Oh, yeah. My best friend.
A regular meeting.
I'll see you.
But yeah, no, we usually think about the plan and stuff by now. Yeah. Well.